The number of the week is 142.3 million. That is the number of viewers who tuned in to see Bad Bunny perform at the halftime show of the Super Bowl. So, Seth, did you watch?
Oh, I watched. Yeah. Buffalo wings, a beer or two, the whole thing I watched.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did you go to like a party or something like that extravagant?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Went to a friend's house. I know.
So
I can see you watched.
I don't know.
Did you watch?
So I did watch, but I was like, for me, it was kind of like which of the two teams that I didn't know who they were going to win the Bad Bunny concert. That was pretty much that was pretty much
Yeah.
how I saw this. Oh, I was really excited. I have not been a Bad Bunny fan, although in the past, I don't know, maybe month where you cannot escape just like constantly hearing about this. I kind of I bet, it's the same as me and Taylor Swift. I'm a Swiftie now, like 10 years after the fact, like so late to the party. But that's the one thing about being, a woman of a certain age. These things don't bother me. I don't really care anymore. So now I'm a Bad Bunny's fan and a Swiftie fan and like very
It's
new
great.
and it's all great. Yeah,
It's
exactly.
wonderful. Yeah. I love it. I love this for you so much, Sarah. I didn't know Bad Bunny either, I have to admit, but I enjoyed the halftime show. It was, I'm not a huge football fan, but I love a good game, and this was not a good game. So the halftime show was the most exciting part for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. The only football I watch is University of Michigan football. So,
Go Blue.
Because go blue. Right. Exactly. And, but one thing that I am very guilty of doing is that while I watch TV now, I am one of those people that I watch TV. I usually have my laptop on my lap and I have my phone right next to me all at the same time. And so I did see a lot of people like bringing it back to like our space and our job during the halftime show, talking about like, oh, like maybe we should go to Puerto Rico. Like, I want to go to Puerto Rico now. Like,
or just or Latin America,
Puerto Rico?
Latin America at large. There's always a travel angle, Sarah, as you know better than anyone. And I thought it was a great. It definitely had people talking about Puerto Rico. There's no doubt about it, right? It was great. And by the way, what do you think of the Ricky Martin cameo?
So
it wasn't a cameo; he was part of it.
So I was watching with my husband, and I said, "Is that Ricky Martin?" And I was like, "No." How old is he? I'm like Googling it because Ricky Martin is ageless, apparently. But yeah, no, Ricky Martin, I dig it. I saw Jessica Alba, I saw Pedro Pascal. I was like looking for the people. No,
great. At my Super Bowl party, we were, there was we had a few Spanish speakers, but I was following the vibes. I wasn't necessarily following the transliteration, but people were excited by Pedro Pascal, Jessica Alba, and Ricky Martin. And he didn't, I want him to do Livin' La Vida Loca, of course, but he did a Bad Bunny song. And actually, I think this is funny. The Bad Bunny song he did, we were talking about this in one of our, again, Skifts full of travel nerds, one of our Skift chats. It's about, the song itself is about some of the parallelism between Hawaii and Puerto Rico and development and over tourism. And there was definitely, tensions between locals and tourists and residents. And, there's definitely a tourism angle to this Super Bowl halftime show. I can't say the words.
Too many beers last night at the Super Bowl party, Seth. Yeah. One of my, to me, it wasn't a terribly, like, it could have gone so political. It didn't, to me, it didn't go that political. But the one part that I did where I was like, oh, okay, like we're going there, was when they were on top of the power poles I was like, yeah.
Well, yeah, yes, that grid, we're not experts on the electric grid. I will say, in my past life, Sarah, I worked in investments at a large investment bank. And one of the things we covered before I even came to Skift was Puerto Rican power company electric bonds, and they all defaulted. And this was before the government, this was before the bankruptcy. And so we were like involved in some, So the grid has been not just a hurricane thing, not just a recent thing. That grid has been Anyways, well, I was actually digging into some Puerto Rican economic data as one does when it
As one
becomes,
does.
and it's a little bit it's a little old. It's like a year or two old, but the Federal Reserve put out this chart. I don't know if we can see this. I mean, it's on my screen if we can pull it up. I looked at this data. I kind of gasped. Have you seen this population chart of Puerto Rican population? I gasped.
Look at that.
Like, it's in long-term decline. And I guess that's also what the song was about and about longing for, like, it feels like Puerto Rico's not for, I guess, Puerto Ricans anymore. And then, of course, the extra data is about, like, how the economy has so shifted towards leisure and hospitality. We're looking at some employment data here where you can really see, like, employment in many other sectors is down except for leisure and hospitality. 97,000 people on the island work in leisure and hospitality. So it's actually, I'm really playing on this song angle here, but, like, tourism is still a smaller percentage of Puerto Rico's GDP than it is in Hawaii or many other very heavily tourism dependent countries. But the economic environment in Puerto Rico has been really rough, like large emigration, more so than I realized. And tourism, with all the all the challenges it brings, has also brought a lot of jobs in a time when the economy has been really tough. So it's interesting. All these things have, there's always a travel angle, right?
Always a travel angle. We've also got the Olympics going on right now.
Another sports mega event with tourism angles. I mean, I don't know about you. I look at these clips, these, like, cutaways that they have of the Dolomites, and I'm just like, I want to go there. It's incredible.
Yeah, I haven't heard as much, I will say, about the Winter Olympics this year as I was expecting. Maybe it's just, again, we've talked about this on this podcast before, but the increasing silos of, exposure to, like, what is out there in the world. And I'm just not in the Winter Olympics, echo chamber that's going on. And so I don't hear about it very much. I did hear that Lindsey Vonn fell. I heard that. That's just about the only thing that got through.
Are you a Summer Olympics person? Is that what your algorithm is? It's all about the summer sports and the...
I am. Yeah. Yeah. Right now, I'm just, like, bitter and freezing, like, all the time.
Yeah, it's too real.
Like, just like across the board on all fronts, don't talk to my family right now. Like, it's just, summer just needs to get here. I need to warm up.
They were sold out. So you have to keep it, Prospect Park in your neck of the woods, Prospect Park has a curling rink, and there's a weekly curling club that I've been to. Yeah. They have, like, a demo day for noobs like myself. And I went, and they gave me a license to curl after I passed it.
That's so dorky. I love it so much. I love it so much.
Back.
Is it hard?
It's really hard. Yeah. Did you
get a broom? Is it a broom? Is it an actual broom?
It is a broom, and they give you a broom.
Yeah.
I mean, the granite stones are heavy. You get the granite stones, you get the broom, you sweep, you yell at each other. Sweep, sweep, you yell. So I'm excited. I love it.
That actually sounds incredibly fun.
It is fun.
Maybe because
curling.
there's yelling, like, I could get some of my, like, wintertime frustration out.
Yeah, that's right. Just get out of the house and let out a big, It's a good, You have a little fun. You scream. There's a tradition you're supposed to buy the losing team a beer, and then you go home. You're in Brooklyn. It's the rinks. This is actually, you don't even know this. This is sponsored by Brooklyn. No, it's not. But the Brooklyn Curling Club is great. But I think that this does speak to live tourism.
Absolutely.
It feels like it was recent. Just 2 years ago, we did a bunch of interviews on this very podcast about the Summer Olympics in Paris. And who was it? It was Ben Smith.
It does feel like it was just yesterday. Yeah, exactly.
Feel, right?
Yeah.
And Ben Smith was telling us about how you don't actually necessarily see the boost during the event. And actually, you might see some people avoid it because of the event, because they don't want to go when it's so crowded. But that it's a long-term investment in the tourism potential. It's a chance to highlight your nation and your nation's assets. And, I think so many of us think of Italy for Rome, or even for, like Lake Como. And I kind of knew geographically what the Dolomites were, but I don't think I knew what they looked like. And so it's pretty cool to see it.
Very beautiful. So what else is going on, Seth?
A lot. A lot. We're busy. It's a busy week for us at Skift Research, and this will not be the topic. This will not be the topic of the podcast. It will be the topic of next week's podcast. But we're launching our outlook, Sarah, which I'm really excited about. And so, if you're listening, you can get a. Well, actually, when this airs, the outlook will be live. So go and check it out. We're going to do a webinar, right, Sarah? We're going to.
We absolutely are. Yep.
And so, look, here's the preview. Like resilience. That's the preview. We think there's going to be a lot of resilience. There's opportunity for growth. The fundamentals are there. But the challenge is geopolitics, which is part of what we're going to talk about. That's the major risk.
Where is the resilience coming from? Like, who is hurting where they have to resile?
The resilience comes from the consumer. It's a great question. No, it's a great question. The resilience comes from the consumer. So the consumer wants to travel, and it comes from, the jobs market, which continues to be strong, or relatively strong. We continue to see economic growth. You also have to think globally. We're very US based, like out in the Middle East, out in Asia, there's a lot more growth. And so the consumer wants to travel. The economy continues to be supportive of that. But everyone's like, can I travel? Will the economy continue to be strong? Will there be some geopolitical whatever? Or will my vacation be able to go geopolitics? Will my vacation go as planned? That's the challenge. And so we need resilience in the face of that uncertainty.
And that's what's coming.
That's what's coming. We'll discuss on the podcast,
nice.
Probably on the podcast next week. We're going to do a webinar. And if you're listening now and you're a Skift Research subscriber, you can find that report live as you listen on. But that's not the topic of today's podcast, though. That's a preview. You've been busy, Sarah. You just did something cool. You just did something really cool. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about you, Sarah.
Yeah.
What did you just publish?
So I just published a follow-up feature. So I wrote the very first thing I wrote for Skift when I first started was in 2023, was a piece about how weight loss drugs were going to impact the travel industry. And it is interesting. Back then, it was a little bit of a head scratcher for a lot of people in the office. What do you mean what do you mean you're writing that? Like, that doesn't make any sense, Sarah. But here we are now, almost 3 years later. And, then it was kind of a more niche, like only a few, at scale, not as many people were taking these drugs. In the last 3 years, however, we have seen so much adoption, we being basically the United States, because the US there are only a few other places on the planet where these drugs are, approved by the governments and you can actually get them. So this is mostly a US story, but for those of you who are outside,
you also need the baseline obese population.
Yes, we also need it really bad. But yeah, so this is a US story, but it's coming to a country near you, surely, because everybody's making money hand over fist. So that means that, it is coming to a country near you. And now, for the very first time in 2025, obesity rates in the United States of America went down. It was for the first time since like the 1970s, which is when it all seemed to start going wrong. And it's because of these drugs. Yeah.
And so, medical miracle, like a sea change, an actual breakthrough and change in how we treat this disease, right? Which is what it is. It's an actual medical condition. And now that medical condition is treatable.
Has a treatment.
For relatively affordable. I think one of the important things in your story that makes it newsy is that this drugs used to be really expensive, but someone has a plan, right, to bring down the price.
Yeah. So, our current administration has really dug in on this one and made these drugs, forced the drug companies, I dare say, to change their pricing structure. They're going to be available through Medicaid or Medicare. Cannot remember which one. It might be both.
Probably both.
Yeah. And so, but just the price themselves, I think in 2023, when I wrote the first story, the retail was like somewhere between $1,500 and $1,800 a month. Now, out of pocket, like if you're not covered by insurance, I think it's somewhere like between $200 and $400 and change per month. And that's just out of pocket, which is still a whole lot of money. Yeah. But it's, there is a big difference there. There are a lot of people who are rearranging their finances who told me things like, it's just completely rearranged how I prioritize my money.
Yeah.
Including where I travel. But basically, like, I'm going to take this $400 a month. I'm going to spend it on this medication that is going to make my life so much better. I don't spend as much on food. I don't spend as much on doing some of these other things. And then I'm going to take this money and I'm going to go on that trip I always wanted to go on.
So this is the point in the story. It unlocks all this different travel behavior, right? Like, people are considering destinations that they previously never would have. And I think point you make, which is a great one, it's not even just like adventure tourism. It's not like you're fit now that you can go whitewater rafting. It's like you're more fit now. You can go to a European city with cobblestone streets that you maybe couldn't have done
and
before.
Hills. Like, I couldn't, even I had a hard time walking around Lisbon last time I was there. It's so hilly, where there are a lot of people that, I talked to, are like, I couldn't do that before. And now I can. And so therefore I am.
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of when I talk to people who took these medications and it made their lives so much different about their travel habits, it was really kind of I think it's also maybe the demographic, like it's an older demographic that generally take these medications. So like a lot of it kind of seemed like it fell into the bucket list type of travel. Like, I never thought in a million years I would be able to do X, and now I can. So like, come hell or high water, I am going to do that.
Absolutely.
And so where people are booking, what they do when they get there. I mean, and this is the thing that I've been covering these medications for a while now. So I'm fairly like read in on the kind of like not just what's public knowledge, but what, people are whispering about, kind of behind the scenes. What I think one of the most interesting things about these medications is that they don't just affect people's appetite, they affect their brain, which I think when you start thinking about it more, it makes complete sense. And so in addition to dampening appetite for food, it dampens appetite for other vices as well. Other interesting thing, doctors don't really know why. Which it always surprises me when doctors are like, yeah, we don't know why this happens, but we know it does. I'm like, wow, really? You don't? You don't
4
know.
years of medical school, they didn't cover that one?
Yeah. Like the whole, like all the doctors in all the world who are looking at this that you really don't know. But I digress. But like things like like it's being looked at for gambling addiction. It's being, being looked at for drug and alcohol treatment.
Sports betting. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So it's just changing. It's flipping the way what people are doing when they are traveling and what they want to do.
People eat less. They have less vices, less gambling, and they're able and willing to do more active bucket list stuff. Is this like, are cruises dead? Is this going to kill? And the demographic is like 50 plus. Does that mean is that really bad news for cruise companies?
I mean...
You're not saying yes, but you're not saying no.
Yeah, well, I do think that like at scale, you have to like look at the like large numbers, rules of scale, all of this stuff. I do think that the cruise companies might lose some of their customers for this. But I also, this was another thing about the F&B side of this. It's not as kind of cut and dry as one might think. Now, as I've also talked about on this podcast, I'm not a cruiser, so you don't pay for food on a cruise. It's like an all-inclusive, right?
It can depend.
It depends.
It could often depend on the cruise company, and also they'll often have some restaurants that are in your meal plan and some restaurants that are like special, like just like with all-inclusives, they sometimes have these like special restaurants that are extra.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm glad I have you here, Seth, to explain all of the
we also
the cruising. So I don't need to go on one. So you can just answer these questions for me.
Yeah. Well, that's what we're here for. That's why that's why we're co-hosts. Yeah. Neither of us have to go alone. I'm glad I have you here so that I don't have to tell us all about the world of drug
GLP-1s.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
and occasionally Michigan sports as well. I need my update on that
there you go. I'm here for you, Seth. I think that for the cruise companies who especially have kind of that all-inclusive model, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not the economist, but I wouldn't be surprised if, they spend far less on food. Like that line item on their budget goes down. And maybe, people still seem to like to cruise, but what people do, like the excursions and what they're doing on the boat, like those things change. It's kind of like, it's a lot like what we're seeing in the mocktail space, which we've talked about kind of at length here. If, providers are smart enough to pivot, it's not the end of the world for them.
It's actually better. What we've talked about is that the mocktail margins are actually better because the most expensive, you charge the same, and the most expensive ingredient is now gone.
Yes. And, I did, where was I? I was somewhere just the other night, and, it was a restaurant in Manhattan of all places. And I looked at the mocktails list, and it was like the drinks on the mocktails list. This was, in Midtown. It's like $17, $18.
Yeah.
It is the same. They are the same. It's a glass of juice.
Here I call it a racket.
And like a pretty straw. But yeah, so I think that for any hospitality company, the key is, and you see it happening, to just, kind of be aware that this is happening and take those, understand that those customers and those clients are going to want something a little bit different. You see it at gyms too. Like people thought it would be like the end of the gym. But one of the things that GLP-1s do is they affect your muscle mass disproportionately than if you're not taking them, and just like lose weight in other ways. And so, gyms have really started, used to be come to the gym and lose weight. Now it's come to the gym and gain muscle. Yeah. People don't need to go to the gym to lose weight anymore. They're there to strength train. So the package is still the same. You're still paying the same amount of money. It's just that the marketing and the services are tweaked.
Well, stop me if I'm just going off of too deep a tangent or a rabbit hole here, but just trying to make it a little bit full circle back to what we're talking about with Super Bowl and Olympics and experiential tourism and all this stuff. Like, I think maybe what I'm hearing you say is that in some ways it's bringing travel back to back to that experience, back to what is the core selling proposition? What is that core value proposition of your trip? And if your value proposition was just, we make it so you don't have to walk, that's not such a good value proposition anymore. You have to really refocus on, well, why would someone take a cruise? Why would someone go on this vacation? Why would someone visit this destination? Because they want to see this experience, because they want to not have to pack and unpack on a cruise. But forget cruises. Like, there's a lot of reasons why you would take a cruise. But like, I think it's, these things, the more we strip away that these, I mean, in some ways it's like, again, obesity. We're not trying to knock on anyone who's overweight. Obesity is a disease. You strip away this disease, in many ways, you're stripping away a handicap. You're making people more able to travel, and then you're forcing the industry to react and say, well, what do they really want? Like, were they coming to me because the other options were unavailable to them? Or can I actually offer them an experience, a value proposition, a trip that they actually want? And so, I don't know, is that would that be a moral of the story for you, or no? Am I
Yeah, I think so. I think that is one of the things. The thing that I really am fascinated by, though, is kind of like who's gonna do it well first. Like, who's gonna jump on the bandwagon and like the I talked to Jay Shavit a bit about this. Because we were going back and forth, and we didn't come to like a good conclusion, but I'm really interested in airports. So airports are places where people go and they have like time to kill, right? And so what do people do at airports when they have time to kill? They eat, they drink, and they shop.
Yeah.
And shopping is yet another thing that is like on the list of vices that these medications seem to dampen the need to do. So I'm very curious if like airports are going to have to like get on board with how I don't know, the retailers they partner with, or what they're doing, or how the revenue split is gonna go on there if people just simply kind of stop wanting to kill time by eating and drinking.
Well, it should bode well for retail, right? Or even experiential. Like I think of,
yes, exactly.
I think of the golf simulator in the Turkish lounge.
Well, I mean, here's one of my things at airports. Like one of the treats that I always give to myself when I'm like taking one of our long monster flights to one of our events, Seth, is I usually connect through Abu Dhabi, and there's like a little spa there.
Yeah.
And I always get a massage.
Absolutely.
It's like extreme, like ghastly expensive. I don't even look at it. I just sign for it. But every time I go, I do it. And so, more things like that at the airport, that it's not, it's not food based.
Want to know something interesting? I once had to do some research into airports and how they make their money and airport retail, that ecosystem. And I'm going to, for our listeners who are really in the weeds of this, I apologize. I'll probably misquote. But do you want to guess this is old. It's like, it died. But one of the highest margin duty-free product.
Oh, gosh.
And it has to do with your, I'll give you a hint, but you want to take a straight guess, or you want me to give you a hint?
Cigarettes?
Yes, absolutely. It's absolutely cigarettes. And that is like the number one profit center seller of duty-free retail. And across the globe, there has been first, just ethical, like just first, like it's a bad look. And then secondarily, actual regulatory pushback and pressure over the last, it's not that recent a trend, over the last decade, to first constrain and then ban cigarette sales. And so a lot of duty-free retailers have had to pivot from cigarettes to what else can we sell? And this ties into the Ozempic thing about like people doing, what do you do if you're really stressed trying to make a connection? And with Ozempic and those kind of addictive behaviors, like it's probably puts even more pressure on cigarettes. The one they've come up with, the real margin is beauty products, by the way. Duty-free beauties and perfumes and cosmetics is a huge, huge margin driver.
I always check to see if I can get stuff cheaper. No, the markup is still too high.
It's sort of like when the it just has to hit you. I feel like whenever I shop duty free, I'm just like you say, like I'm really bored. I've got a layover. I owe someone a gift, and I want to treat myself. And I'm like, is this bottle of scotch actually cheaper? I don't know, but I'll just pick it up.
It's not. I can answer that for you. So I think that we have some interesting news to talk about. I won the Bet the Coffee, Seth.
Yes.
With respect to the Epstein files.
This was a way back bet for a long time.
Way back when.
We made a bet about whether there would be any travel executives in the Epstein files.
Yeah.
They were not in the first release, but we've got new releases. So I said no, you said yes.
Yeah.
I lost. I owe you a coffee. Let me Venmo you right now for your coffee, Sarah.
Oh, no. I'm not. I want real coffee.
We bet a coffee. I have to buy you a coffee.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not taking your money. We're going to go into a coffee shop together in person, and I am going to order a coffee, a fancy one. And you are going to pay for it. And that is how we're going to do that.
All right. That's how we do it.
So
which travel executives were in the Epstein files? Tell us and our listeners.
So I think I'm going to skip that one for this recording because we're still writing the story.
Teaser.
But it's coming. Yeah.
It's coming.
Stay tuned. And I won. That's all we need to know for right now. What is our next bet, Seth?
Do you want to bet on Olympic curling?
Oh, yes, absolutely. You know more about this, but so you tell me, what do you want the bet to be? And I'll decide whether I take it or not.
When I was watching over the weekend, before I tuned into the Super Bowl, U.S. was doing good. Great Britain was in the lead. Do you want to bet that U.S. medals in curling, mixed doubles curling, or do you want to bet like the gold? Should we do for a gold or just a medal?
Okay. I mean, I can't imagine that the U.S. is in medal contention for curling, is it?
I think they're going to qualify. They're going to make it to the semifinals. I'll give you that intel. I'm not going to tell you they're a bad team. They're doing good. I want you to be fully informed as you take the over-under on this bet.
Okay. So yeah, I'll you pick and I'll take it. I'll just take it regardless.
I'm gonna bet they go gold.
Okay.
I don't know if they really will,
All right.
but I want to take the maximalist bet, and you win if
Yep.
they don't. Okay.
And is this for mixed doubles?
Mixed doubles curling. Finishing up the round robins, going into semifinals as we record. By the time this airs, we might have a winner.
All right. There we go. You heard it here first. So who are our weekly winners and losers? I think this is an obvious one.
Okay. Who's the winner?
I mean, Good Bunny.
Our
Bunny.
amigo.
He has to be.
Good Bunny. Bad Bunny was a very good bunny this week. Representing Puerto Rico.
Did you see what Elmo tweeted? Maybe
I follow the Elmo Twitter account closely. I saw. Elmo's been busy. He also was tweeting about the Taylor Swift Opalite music video. As a Swiftie.
I watched this. Yes. It was not my favorite. I do think it was so interesting though that it was based on a real Graham Norton interview.
They all met at that talk show and they were like,
that's hysterical.
Like, you want to be on my it's a great lesson that you got to ask for things, because one of the people on the show was like, I would love to be in a music video. And then apparently Taylor was just like, do you want to be in mine? And it was like, done. So you gotta, what is like the secret? You've got to
ask for what you want. You got to put it out there in the world. I fully believe that.
I think I have to pick our loser. And if Bad Bunny is our winner, and if he had an amazing halftime show at represented Puerto Rico and got people talking about it and people wanted to visit it just based on the halftime show and it was the best part of the thing, I think the loser almost by default has to be Kid Rock, who tried to counter-program the halftime show, and as far as I can tell, has driven no tourism results, unlike Bad Bunny.
I just hope that no one remembers that he's from Michigan.
As a Michigander. Yeah. He's a Michigander. That's right.
I was gonna I hope he isn't sending people like away from Michigan.
He should have. If we see Michigan tourism versus Puerto
Rico tourism
is the battle of the competing halftime shows.
We're gonna do a chart. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. All right. Well, we're gonna leave it there. I think that's it for this week, Seth.
Yeah. Tune in for our webinar. I think, if you're listening to this when it airs, the webinar will pretty much be airing momentarily, I think.
So you can just have more of us talking about this stuff too. If you just can't get enough, we will be there too.
Stay tuned. More details on the outlook, more details on the Epstein files. I cannot think of a better teaser than those two things. I mean, come on, you got to know the answer to both of those. So thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
See you next week.